All right, so yesterday we started a set of notes, and we're going to finish those today. So let's start by going over to Google Classroom and getting those opened up. Just like yesterday, if you want to have, if you're on the Meet and you want to have the Google Meet on one side and the notes on the other side, so it's easier to go back and forth, that's fine. If you're in the class, you can look up at my screen. That works as well. So, in social studies, let's go ahead and get these Renaissance notes opened up. So you guys need to get that Google document opened. We finished with the scientific one, the exploration of science, right? Renaissance. We are on VI, which is 6. That's a Roman numeral for 6. And it's how did religious thought change during the Renaissance? Oops. So we're on the religion section. While you guys get that opened up, I'm going to go open up the PowerPoint. You hit the box in the top right corner. Like if you look at my screen now, it's this up here.
Sir Francis Bacon. I know. Sir Isaac Newton.
I'm getting there. Hang on. Excuse you. Okay. I do believe that this is where we're at. How did religious thought change during the Renaissance? This is the slide we're on. And if you're on the Google Doc, that it's section 6, which is VI. So we're just going to start going through these, have you guys filling out the rest of those notes. When we're done with the notes, you guys have a little bit of a WebQuest to do about art from the Renaissance. Okay?
How big is the?
It's not a very long one. If you yesterday did finish copy and pasting the notes and stuff already, or you went ahead and typed all of them out, awesome. Just sit tight, listen as we talk this through. Usually I give you guys more information than just what's on the slides, right? So just listen for a little while, and then you guys will do the WebQuest once we're done with that. So, part number 6. How did religious thought change during the Renaissance? First, prior to the Renaissance, so before the Renaissance, the church governed all aspects of everyday life. So the church was basically in charge of everyday life. Okay? People saw that their afterlife was linked to their approval from higher authorities. So where you went in the afterlife was connected to whether or not the people above you, like in status, approved of your life. Any questioning or disobeying the religious officials would risk one's fate, which means they might kill you if you question the church. So can you guess what's happening here? I don't know what that means, but what? A lot of people, that's what the scientific portion was about, right? A lot of people started questioning the church and what they taught as science back then, and that's how we kind of started having actual scientists come around and show us that no, the earth is not flat, no, the earth is not the center of the universe. Like they started proving these actual theories with science, right? Yeah, exactly. They created a telescope to show us and do all this stuff like that. They learned about gravity, which is why we went outside yesterday and did that weird experiment thing. I thought it was kind of fun, though. Got us outside for a little while. Maybe I'll try and find something else like that for us to do today. We'll see. All right, about 30 more seconds on this one. We'll go to the next part. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Can you figure out where they go though?
No, like on this one and like that one here.
If you can't find one, just skip it. It's fine. One blank isn't going to kill you. All right, next slide. Martin Luther, again, like we talked about yesterday, Martin Luther is not Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights activist from the 1960s. This Martin Luther was born in like the 1400s and like was a religious figure, not the Martin Luther King Jr. that we talk about nowadays. Right? Two different people. Okay? Also, if you look at their picture, they're very clearly not the same person. This Martin Luther is a white man. The civil rights activist from the 1960s was a black man. They're very different. They look a lot different. So, he was a German monk who grew disgusted with the specific church practice known as the sale of indulgences. So the church charged people to forgive their sins. So a sliding scale that made more serious sins more money. So in order to get rid of your sins, you could pay them off, basically. That's what Martin Luther did not like. He did not like the fact that you could just do something wrong and then go pay the church and then suddenly it's not wrong anymore. It's like you never did it. But really, like, you did. So it's like if we use something as small as lying, right? So like I tell a lie, I go to the church and say, I lied, here's $5. It's like I never lied. That's what they felt like the sale of indulgences was. But is that true? Did I still lie? Yeah. So Martin Luther didn't like the fact that you could just buy away your bad things that you did. And the more serious of a thing that you did that was wrong, the more money you would have to pay for that. So he didn't like that concept of the church. Okay. Are we good for the next one?
Yeah.
Here in this picture, people are lined up to pay for their sins. I'm assuming under that box is something inappropriate, so we're just going to skip it. This man is checking the sins to collect the correct amount. So it's like going up to the grocery store and paying for stuff, but you're paying your sins away. Okay, that's good. That's a different language. I don't know what that says. At this time, the Bible was only available in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. Okay, let's hear it. Bradford, read it. It says hi. Okay, we're going to keep going. So at this time, the Bible was only available in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. The lack of translations meant that people had to trust what people were saying that the Bible said. If you couldn't read this language, you just had to trust that what people were telling you within it was true, right? Because you couldn't read it yourself. Martin Luther translated the Bible into German, believing that it would give people more access to the Bible, which it did. So Martin Luther translated the Bible into German so that more people could read it.
Oh, this is disgusting.
Okay. It might be out of order. It might skip. Do your best to fill it in. If it does, it's okay. I'm not going to dock you for missing a couple. Okay. Are we ready? Next one. Here's Martin Luther hanging up some stuff. To combat this major to combat or to go against the abuse of the church's power, Martin Luther created a list of 95 problems with the church. So he listed out 95 things that he thought was wrong with the church. This was called the 95 Thesis. He nailed it to the front door of Wittenberg Castle Church. So, yeah, can we guess what happened to Luther? He went against the church. Do you think he died?
No,
Beheaded? Someone thinks he got beheaded?
no, of course not.
No, don't tell us what it says. We're going to go look at it next. It's fine. I don't know. We'll find out.
It actually, he didn't die.
Okay, I'll let you guys get this one typed out. We'll move on in about 30 seconds. I'm just checking my attendance really quick. If it's out of order, just skip what you're confused about and get the ones you can find, okay? Alright, so we have a couple of theories about what happened to Martin Luther. He went against the church, so you guys think that he might have been executed, beheaded, which is the same thing as executed, technically. Any other ideas? Besides death, do you think that maybe there was a less severe punishment? Maybe prison? Okay. Maybe. So, Martin Luther's actions started a major religious movement called the Protestant Reformation. Protestant is a type of religion, so he created a new branch of religion, basically. So, Protestant equals protest, Reformation equals reform. So, it was a protest for reforming stuff, right? So the followers of Martin Luther became known as Lutherans. So today there are over 72 million people that follow the Lutheran religion. All right, so go ahead and get this one typed out. We'll move on in a minute. If it's not there, then skip it. What? Okay. All right, next slide. The Reformation continued in England when King Henry VIII broke away from the Catholic Church and created the Church of England. From what I know, King Henry VIII is not a good dude. Henry wanted to divorce his wife, Catherine of Aragon, but the Pope would not grant it. Back then, the concept of the divorce was not good. They could kill you for getting a divorce. So instead, he created a new church that put him at the top of the church. And then he permitted his own divorce and then later married Anne Boleyn. Huh? You thought she had what? A pierce. A piercing. A piercing. Oh, it's my mouse up here. I got you. Got it. Okay. So King Henry VIII was not a great dude. I actually think that, so again, I listened to a podcast recently. There was one of my crime podcasts that I like to listen to, and they were talking about royalty that, like ancient royalty that was murderers, basically. From what they can kind of tell, because this was ancient times, there's not a lot of documentation. From what they can tell, King Henry VIII actually killed multiple of his wives. And yeah, so he's not a great dude. He was already king. He didn't need to take their money. I don't know. He didn't like them anymore, I guess. Okay, ready for the next one? That's King Henry VIII. Henry's desire for this ultimately, okay, let me try that again. So he wanted to marry multiple people. He got divorced, right? Henry's desire to get divorced and remarry was ultimately because he had the lack of a male heir, which means he did not have a son. When he does not have a son, no one's there to take over for king once he dies. So he had a total of 6 wives. I don't know if he ever got one. So notice this. I think Anne Boleyn is the one that he had killed. Catherine of Aragon, he got divorced from. Anne Boleyn, from what I can tell, is from what I remember, he killed her. Or he had her killed. Jane Seymour died in childbirth. Anne of Cleves, he divorced her. Catherine Howard was beheaded, so maybe he had her killed too. Catherine Parr survived. She outlived him. Maybe she killed him. Who knows? Maybe she was like, yo, I know you killed a lot of your other wives. I'm killing you instead. Who knows? Gotta love ancient murder conspiracies. Right? Thank you. Okay, I'll leave this here for a second, let you guys get caught up. Yeah, I would spray it down. Oh, I forgot to fill it up.
You would have.
I wonder if you ever got a second fill it up.
No, you can't fill it. I have to do it.
I wonder if you ever did do something else. I don't think you did that. I don't know. That guy was just like, dude,
You get it.
All right, are you ready for the next one?
wait, I can do that real quick.
Here we go. Okay, so that was the end of section number 6 about the Renaissance and religion. We have one final part, right? This is right. This is the last one. Can we answer my question? Is this the last section? Thank you. 7th section. How did the Renaissance impact government? So let's finish this up really quick. During the Renaissance, most government officials were absolute monarchs, which means that one person ruled and that was it. Mainly kings. Okay. This means that a king or a queen had absolute control over everything. People naturally began to question the relationship between themselves and their government. This happened during the end of the Renaissance during a period called the Enlightenment. So basically, people wanted to question the fact that that the king had absolute power and they had no power at all. So they started questioning, like, why is it like this? Why do I have no power to do anything in the government? And during that time, it was called the Enlightenment.
Wait, can you go back?
Will do, Skylar. Focus on the thing. Maudie.
Oh, so you got me red-handed. Actually.
Yeah, I've also caught you red-handed doing nothing, Yoshi.
Huh?
I've also caught you doing red-handed doing nothing.
Oh, mine, oh, yeah, mine got that one.
Yeah, but it's also been idle for 15 minutes, which means you haven't touched it in 15 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jada, you're wasting all of the stuff. Everybody else has to use it today.
She just doesn't want
Could
to
be that.
listen.
All right, ready for the next slides? Here we go. Oh my gosh, I hate this name. Machiavelli. Gotta say it with an accent. Niccolo Machiavelli. He wrote The Prince, where he provided guidelines for city-states or just towns in general to maintain a firm grip on their power and the people. So it was like a document that basically told people how to be the absolute ruler and not give anybody else power. He believed that a ruler should be willing to go to any length to maintain control. So your conscience or your morals should take a back seat so that you can maintain control over your city. So basically, he was a dictator.
So conscience.
Conscience. Well, yeah, but that says conscience. I should be? He should be. Because they have no conscience. Yeah.
That was kind of chubby. It's that small too.
All right, ready for the next part? Second number is a yes. So, Machiavelli, the prince, it was better for a ruler to be feared than to be loved. So they wanted to inspire fear in everybody. Uh-oh. The ruler should be quick and decisive in decision making. So make their decisions very quick. The ruler should keep power by any means necessary. So that means killing anybody, keeping anybody prisoner that questioned them. They wanted absolute power. Bradford, put it away. The end justifies the means. What do you mean the candle's lit? Oh yeah, it's a gift. Huh?
You call that a yes, it looks like death yes.
So the end justifies the means, so you'll do anything to get your end goal. Be good when possible and evil when necessary. Oh, that was it. So do you guys agree with this? Is it better for a ruler to be feared?
No.
No, you should probably like the person that's in charge of you, right? Should a ruler make quick decisions?
No.
That one's okay. I think that sometimes you have to make some quick decisions and that happens. Yeah, but that's not like for a government. Is it okay, you think, for a ruler to keep their power by any means necessary?
No.
No, probably not. Is it so they say be good when it's possible and be evil when necessary?
No.
Evil.
Without the evil part.
Evil. Okay, ready for our next slide? John Locke. This guy created a lot of things. John Locke, he believed, guys, we're almost done. Stop fucking. All people have basic natural rights that are granted by God and must be protected by the government. Okay? Natural rights are your right to life, liberty, and property. And government cannot take these rights away from you since God grants you these rights and not the government themselves. So he believes that everybody, no matter what, has the right to life, so be able to be alive, liberty, which is your rights as a citizen, and property, so owning property.
That's not on there.
That's fine. If it's not on there, you can skip it.
No, it's not. Life, liberty, and property. Got it. Yep. Look, on the right. Oh, yeah. On the right. I know, but I don't see it on there. On the right. I know.
No, on the document, not on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
30 seconds on this one.
See this.
Found it? Yeah.
The TV? I'm sure it probably could. Ready for the next one? Okay, here we go. Okay, I don't think I can say this one. Montesquieu. One person should never have total control over a government. I also agree with this. One person should not control the whole government. Okay. That's different. My classroom it's much different than the government. He advocated for the separation of powers, where the most important powers of being a leader were divided up among equal groups of men, or just equal, like men in general, some men. It was never women back then, only men. They were not great. The Queen of England came along later, yeah. And even now, the Queen of England is just a figurehead. She doesn't make any of the decisions. The Prime Minister is the leader of the government. The Queen is just there. She's just the royal family. Well, she is the Queen, but she doesn't lead the government. She's the Queen of England, but she doesn't run the government that runs England. Technically, actually, the Queen of England cannot take a side on any political thing. They're just there. I don't know. Honestly, if you want to ask Miss Ellis about the Queen, she can go on and on and on. So, ask Miss Ellis about the Queen. She's outside. Next part. They think that all powers in one spot is a bad idea. And that if you break up the different parts of the government and give different people different powers, it's a good idea, which is how we have our government on the right over here. Yeah, our government is split up into the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, which you guys will learn about in junior high and high school. So. No, you have it backwards. The judicial is the court system, so the Supreme Court. The executive is the president and his power. The legislative is the Congress and how they come up with laws. And the judicial branch is the judges and stuff who carry out those laws to make sure they're followed. Right? Okay. Rausu. I can't say these names. People naturally enter into an agreement with government upon birth called the social contract. Citizens agree to follow rulers to rule. In exchange, their rights must be protected. If rights are not protected, people have the right to choose a new government. Don't do that. Don't break me. I know, almost done.
That's not turkey sound.
Okay, almost ready? Alright, here we go. So this was what the social contract was. Basically, you're in a social contract with the government and yourself. And it's a balance of power among people. Skylar, can you please stop? Thank you. So that one person doesn't get too much power. Voltaire, he was the father of free speech. He said, I disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to be able to say what's wrong, basically. So freedom of speech is The freedom of speech is that everybody is allowed to go out and say, as long as it doesn't put someone's life in danger, like people can go protest and say what they want to say about something. And you can't argue with their freedom of speech. You just, you might not like what they have to say about it, but they have the right to say stuff. Does that make sense? All right, I think that's all of it.
America.
All right, so, no, that was it, right? Yeah. So at that point, we are done with that, but we're not done with the lesson because over on Google Classroom, you have a new assignment posted called WebQuest, Renaissance Arts. If you open that up, it's just a couple of websites with some questions about some cool art from back in the day. Like what country did the Renaissance start? It asks you about the Mona Lisa. They ask you about the Last Supper. Listen, let me finish talking. The more you interrupt, the longer it takes for me to get through these things, and then I can help you with whatever issue you're having. Reload your page, though, maybe. I bet you that will work. What are they called? The websites you need are the blue text. So if you click on it, underneath it, the website will show up, and you can go to those websites. You don't have to Google each question. The answers are on the websites that are there. Down. No, I do not need complete sentences. Jada. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, you click on the blue text and the website pops up. All the answers are on that website. Charlie. Hang on. This WebQuest is a grade, yes. The notes, yes, you can turn those in because we finished those. Yes. Any other questions? That was a lot of questions at once. Anything else? All right, then I should see everybody working on this WebQuest, please. You guys have about a half hour to finish it up. I don't think it'll even take you that long if you just kind of click